Steve Cohen, we talked about it yesterday. He did his press conference for the Mets fans.
I've been on the edge of my seat all day to hear if we were right about anything yesterday and what he had to say, because he came out a little bold. Something we didn't even really touch on yesterday. He was like, ooh, Steve Cohen, owner of the Mets.
I'm going to talk.
He said something about, I'm going to set it straight. Like, what kind of Wild West talk is that?
Well, listen, he's a vocal owner who loves the team. He's a billionaire. He bought the team with the hopes of, hey, we're getting a World Series in the next 3+ years.
You're going to get it from me straight tomorrow.
Right here. No BS.
Yeah. So, I mean, he was talking a big game yesterday. Like, he's about to, fire some people or something.
Well,
like, the way he came out made you think that we were going to get some crazy, bold announcement today.
The Mets, you can argue the Padres, but the Mets and Padres, probably the two biggest disappointments in MLB this year. There's other teams that are putzing along, but Mets and Padres can very well both miss the postseason, and they spent a ton of money. And Steve Cohen, I agree. I did not expect him to pull a Vince McMahon, you're fired. I didn't think there would be dramatics, but we did speculate.
I thought he was going to come out a rootin' and a tootin', firing people.
I mean, I did make some predictions yesterday. Can we just make sure these are not true? He did not say that there's going to be a Keith Hernandez promotional mustache night.
There should be, though.
No? Okay, so that didn't happen. He didn't
First
say
14,000 attendees get a free mustache.
Oh, man. He didn't say that Mr. and Mrs. Met are breaking up because Mrs. Met was sliding into Zion's DMs. That didn't happen? No.
I don't know. Mrs. Met posted a positive pregnancy test today.
No, that was Mariah Mills. Maybe we'll get to that later. No Vogelbach ribs in center field next to Shake Shack. No Tuffle shuffle during the 7th inning stretch.
Vogelbach.
Danny G, you should do the commercial. I got my Vogelbach. And no Bartolo Colon Great City Race. So what did Steve Cohen say? Take a listen. Hit it now.
If we get into the playoffs, anything can happen. Winning a World Series is really hard. I mean, 29 teams lose, 1 team wins. And but the goal is to put yourself in position for good things to happen. We'll see where it goes. It's on the players. They're veterans. They've been there before. These are players that have done it, and we'll see if they can get their act together and string together some wins.
Can you say definitively that Billy and Buck will remain in their jobs through the season?
Absolutely.
Wow, that sounded like an empty announcement, meaning yesterday, again, he said, I'm going to set the record straight. You would think, like, as owner, he was going to say something pretty heavy. He said nothing at all.
Well, and by the way, Ramos, sorry for putting you on the spot. Dan Byer gave me a thumbs up like Ramos has it on lockdown.
I had it on lockdown. He just didn't know I had it on lockdown. Yes.
I was over here typing like, Dear Suzanne. And then all of a sudden I see you guys and I go, what?
I'll meet you at the Little League game.
Yeah.
What? What's that?
At 6 o'clock.
Snooky Wookie dumpling buns.
Dearest Suzanne, how I think of thee. So, obviously you heard the clip. You missed nothing. Steve Cohen really didn't say much. And I have Met fan friends that are saying, WWSD. What would Steinbrenner do? Saying, like, if you thought back to the old school Yankees when George was alive, what would he have done? Billy Martin, Piniella, he would rotate them if he was in a bad mood. He would
I would say WWOSD. What would old Steinbrenner do?
Yeah, because the new one, he's a little more casual.
Yeah. What would George do?
But, hey, I don't know what you expected. It is on the players. I'm not saying coaches
I expected a little bit of passion. I think you as a fan is a little angrier than him as the owner. A little anticlimactic for me.
I agree. Listen,
I like our list better.
We're gonna get to other things. I don't want to harp on my Mets, but I'm just looking at my group chat, which has changed the name. It's now I can't say that on Fox. Hashtag F the Mets essentially is the group chat now, and they're all saying the same thing. My Met fan friends were like, he's a billionaire. He doesn't become a billionaire by pussyfooting around his, decisions. Like, this guy's got to make a move. And I'm like, yeah, but sometimes the calm hand and take a deep breath. What are you going to do? Now, Danny, this applies to the Dodgers, the Brewers, Dan Byer. It's not just my Mets. You can't just say, blow up the team. There's contracts. There's no trade clauses.
You could show a little anger and disappointment. He said nothing of substance at all. Back me up, Fox Sports Radio Nation. We hyped that up yesterday just because of what he said. He led us to believe he was going to be, hey, I'm setting it straight. 877-99 on Fox. What was your reaction?
He sounded bored.
Yeah.
Sounded like a very bored owner, and that surprised me too because Rich was more hyped up, and when the fans are more passionate than the owner, people in the front office, the players, there's a problem.
Weak.
Well, people make excuses for others all the time, right? If you have like a bad partner or, a wife or husband, they're just like that. In baseball, Manny being Manny, we know Steve Cohen loves the team he bought. That's part of the story, right? He's a billionaire that bought the team he loves. So you sort of wanted him to lose his mind a little.
Yeah,
but the fact that he had
him unravel.
The fact that he was steady.
I wanted to hear him dropping or else or something like that. Or else.
Or my name, or my name's not Steve Cohen.
Yeah, he sounded like a parent that uses empty threats, and they're not going to do anything.
Well, I mean, Ramos, just hit it one more time. Well, let's analyze it one more second.
If I'm in this position, I'm not adding. Okay, I mean, I think that would be pretty silly. Okay, I mean, I would probably do very little. If you can get into the playoffs, anything can happen. Winning a World Series is really hard. I mean, 29 teams lose, one team wins. And, but the goal is to put yourself in position for good things to happen.
No kidding!
What?
By the way, this is the setting it straight. This is the weakest. No wonder your team stinks.
Stop it.
It starts with leadership. That's so weak.
Well,
dude, I'm sorry. I know that's your team. That is the weakest.
Let me rewind to my thought. This applies to the NBA, NFL, Major League Baseball, hockey, hot dog eating,
dude,
pickleball.
The word unacceptable was never used once in this big announcement.
I agree. He was a little soft,
no excuse. Nothing that would say that he's as unhappy as the fans are. Unacceptable? That is the weakest setting it straight I ever heard.
Now, the Broncos, right? The Denver Broncos went and got themselves Sean Payton. But last year, if you want to compare it to the NFL, that's a team that had high hopes, that underdelivered. You weren't going to blow up the team mid-season. You sort of almost feel like run it back and you hope you get a better result the next time. Like, I feel like you look at this Mets team. I don't know how well you know this team, but you know the key players if you're a sports fan. Lindor, Pete Alonso, Nimmo just signed that big contract. McNeil was the batting champion last year. All these young dudes, Alvarez and Beatty. Who are you going to get rid of? Could it just be that they're all playing like garbage? But what are you going to do? Demote people?
I agree with your Mets fan club that you're a part of. You don't get to that level of businessman by not being a shrewd sort of tyrant who's willing to make tough decisions. He sounded like a weenie in that little announcement.
Sometimes
maybe he lost his mojo or something.
Isn't sometimes no decision better than making a dumb decision? Like, what are you going to do? All right, well, you know what? Trade deadline, unload McNeil and Nimmo, trade bait. Yo, let's pick up some of the contract and let Verlander go. I think you can't overreact. Yo, no one wants a bunk season. No one wants to miss a postseason when 6 teams make it from each division. Each league now. But what are you going to do? You're going to be like, all right, Pete Alonso's out. Are you really going to start blowing up a team that a year ago won 100 games? Can't you just say, man, just a bad season?
This is like when Ralphie was super pumped to see what his little decoder read on the radio, and it says, be sure to drink your Ovaltine? Like, I waited all that time for that. That's why I feel so disappointed.
I want to hear what he really thinks. Like,
what's more disappointing, Danny? This or when Geraldo opened the vault?
Yeah. Al Capone's vault, and he found nothing but a beer bottle.
When Showalter stayed away from your best closers and blew that game that you guys had a big lead on, just less than a week
days ago? They were beating their rival, the Phillies, by 3 in the 8th inning, and he didn't go to Ottavino or Robertson. And
he went to all these nobodies.
He let nobodies hit 2 batters in a row with the bases loaded. That might have been a moment where it's like, Buck, You're fine.
And I wonder what Cohen was saying in his suite when at the end of that game, and that's what I wanted to hear. All right, we used to have this vice president of a radio group I used to work for, and he was a really nice guy, tons of money, but a nice dude. But once in a while, he'd get upset and he would say, I'm going to have a come to Jesus with that employee. It was one of his favorite terms. So yesterday, when you were talking about Cohen's big press conference.
Setting it straight.
Yeah, setting it straight. Come to Jesus with the team. It didn't happen.
It did.
You know what it comes
happen.
down to also, Danny? He bought the team, and it sounds like I'm making excuses. I'm the most frustrated Mets fan there is. I go home, and I reluctantly turn on the game why am I even watching? But this guy buys the team. He spends all this money. He's the guy that says Billy Epler's the guy. Buck Showalter's my manager. He wins over 100 games in his first year as the owner. His first full year.
Look, I'm not
They
knocking.
make the playoffs and they crumble and they blow it. He comes back this year and they stink. He's thinking, well, these are all the guys I put in place. So it's sort of on him as the owner as well.
And they have to deliver, and I'm not knocking him and the moves he made and the passion level he has for the Mets and the money he's put into it. Not knocking any of that. He's like an owner dream come true if you're a fan, right? Oh, you want this player? We're going to get him.
Yeah.
But he's got to be a little more passionate in this moment, especially after building it up yesterday. He had like a day to sleep on it. Who's his speechwriter? Fire that person.
Can I fire a shot at one of the other hosts here on FSR?
Please.
Ooh, this is fun.
Let's tweet this
Give
out.
me a drum roll.
Oh no.
Yeah.
No, because I like the guy, but he's a I told you so type of guy. He's a I called it. Our buddy. Big Vanilla Funny, VJ Husky.
He has 7 names.
Yeah, that dude is the ultimate I told you so, and I said it, I called it. And let me tell you,
I said it from day one.
it's a lot of fans are saying things like, well, I knew they shouldn't have signed two 40-year-old, pitchers. When they sign those guys, everyone's like, man, Steve Cohen, the guy, he's getting everybody. Did anyone say Verlander was a bad idea when they got him? No, not at all. So you can't say I told you so now. You knew there was a risk, but it's
Well, life's a risk car now.
there's a lot of fans and a lot of friends we have that are I told you so, knew it.
As a radio host, I'm just disappointed. We hyped this up. Oh man, can't wait to see what Steve Cohen says. Yes, sir, tomorrow. We did this yesterday, and it was nothing.